Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Whiskey with Ivy. It is a terribly rainy day, but it's nice and cozy in the studio. My Sunday was almost spoiled by these headlines. F&B workers to be accessed if they can get on wage ladder. You know, Mr. Zainal Sapari, NTUC Assistant Secretary General, let me tell you a few things. It irks me when you keep talking about progressive wage model and only paying Singaporeans 1,200 or 1,300 and you think it is so great. I think the NTUC has been sleeping all these years. You have only been looking at ministers' salary, members of parliament salary, civil servant salary, when these people, the toilet cleaners, the F&B workers, the gardeners, all those people who are really working hard, and you pay them that kind of peanut salary. But lucky for you, Zainal Sapari, I'm not really pissed off because of the 3 cheers to the 4G leaders. They said addressing the widening inequality in Singapore is critical as a national priority. And I think there is hope in my country because of the 4G leaders. For the poor, it is a ladder, it's a wage ladder. For the elites, it's a lift. Press the button and get up there. Let's look at it again. CDAC, my favorite, Ong Ye Kung, you're trying to do a very good job, but let me tell you something. When you give 1.15 million to help 1,680 kids, you divide it, you only get $718 per student. Is this really help or tokenism? You know, it's like whenever I go and buy something, they all ask me, have you got a Pioneer's card? And I always tell him, I don't need a Pioneer's card. I have an identity card which should identify me as a pioneer. Cut out all these cards and wasting time. Help people who need to be helped. Wong Ayok wrote a very interesting short article about so much more to Singapore cuisine. He highlighted how some restaurants get onto the Michelin Award and so forth. But most of these are given to restaurants run by white male chefs, not even female chefs. And he also mentioned how no Chinese restaurant is on the list, even in Hong Kong or Beijing or Shanghai. Why? You know, because we are all controlled by the white people in the world. I applaud Malaysia. All cooks in Malaysia eateries must be local from next year. I wish our Singapore agencies will start helping our own people instead of always helping the foreign white devils. Our Minister of State promoting strawberry planting in Singapore, I mean, this guy should get his head examined. It's not about growing strawberries and vertical farming in Singapore. It is about agriculture entertainment. You know, people come to Singapore, they don't even know we have a countryside. They don't come to the farms. But when they do come, they really love it. They cannot believe this beautiful part of Singapore. And this minister should actually listen to what farmers are trying to tell him. We need new licensing. We need a licensing class for agriculture entertainment. That is the biggest growing tourism factor around the world. We do not need vertical farming. We need tourism to come more and more to Singapore. I'm so happy to see that younger people are growing mushrooms and they have an interest in growing food. And if you look at this guy, he uses coffee grounds and sawdust, etc. And they're really growing food in Singapore. And that is fantastic. There's plenty of land around the HDB estates. Remove the PAP plants, the prim and proper plants, and convert it into an SUP garden, a sustainable, useful, and productive garden. And finally, on food, I managed to dig up this wonderful booklet about the Faith Garden. food always in the home. And if all of us seriously take just 1,000 square feet of land, which is very small, we can grow enough food for the entire family. So the topic of food is not just about feeding your face. The topic of food is critical to the existence of the human race. And we Singaporeans especially should be very clear that we must grow our own food, because people will stop sending food to us, people will stop sending water to us, people will stop sending fresh air to us. Every time I see somebody killed, it really breaks my heart, because when one person dies, his entire family and his friends and his entire community is affected. My driver drove me along this Tanah Merah coast road about a month ago, and I realized it's a beautiful road, there's beautiful sea views, etc. But I couldn't help noticing the terrible speed at which all the truck drivers were driving. I urge our Land Transport Authority, I urge our police people to do something about the loss of life. It is unnecessary. Please, don't wait till somebody you love gets killed before you do something. It is so good to see local young fashion designers becoming conscious about producing fashion based on sustainability. They even have bras made from bamboo. And you know something? If they have my size, I will even support them. It's 40 double D. Thank you for watching Coffee and Whiskey with Ivy. Remember to subscribe so that you won't miss a session.